r/ask Reddit. What is the smartest thing you've ever done? We had a cricket here in the basement rec room of our house. It would chirp and make a racket, but we could not ducking locate it. Every time we got close it would stfoo and we just couldn't find it. Annoying as duck. Anyway, I went outside with my phone and videotaped, just to capture the audio. About 30 seconds of some cricket chirping outside. Came inside, no idea if this would do anything, and set myself in the rec room. Close as I could to the cricket noises without so close that the little blighter would stop his cacophonic mating cries. I played my vid noise, and closed in. Sure enough, the little bastard, upon hearing what was obviously anybody wanna duck, anybody wanna duck, anybody wanna duck, in cricket language. Sure enough, the horny wee critter came out. He had been hiding in the folds of upholstery at the back of an armchair. I placed a cup over him, slid some paper underneath and placed him in the backyard, where he had an actual chance to get laid, and where cricket noises are welcomed when sitting around a fire with a beer in hand, but not when you are indoors trying to watch Seinfeld episodes from your box set, or footy games from England. So yeah, that's it. Well, did the cricket get some fuck? I'd like to believe he did. Back when I used to smoke weed as a teenager, I did it in the kitchen. My parents were gone for the day, so I thought it would be fine. I could just tear it out the whole day. Well, I get a call from them that they would be back in about 20 minutes. I got all the fans I could, but that didn't work at all. With 10 minutes left, I had to think, what could I do? The best idea I've ever had happened. I took out a bag of popcorn and then put it in the microwave and burned that shit. The whole house smelled like burnt popcorn now instead of weed, which is nice because that would then explain why I had all the fans and the windows and doors open. Why did you forget about the popcorn in the microwave and let it burn? Because I was high as duck. This is his response in the other thread. What was the dumbest thing you've ever done? Went to nursing school at a community college. Graduated with $800 in debt. I took a 5-mile ambulance ride. Also $800 in debt. I rode as a passenger with my daughter and am now $1,200 in debt because I was made to sign a consent form instead of the refusal form I requested. Not really that smart, but I'm a room full of military higher-ups arguing about how far the human eye can see. Everyone was saying only a few miles. I just kind of raised my hand and was like, yo, how far away is the moon? And the room got pretty quiet. And then the discussion got really fun. Edit 1. I'm a goddamn room. The typo stays. I kind of want to start this argument to just say that, however, I know the first response would be how far away are stars, and it would be all downhill for me. Did you just argue with yourself? When I was 20, I declined to try heroin. My friend was doing heroin. One night I decided to give it a try. I thought, well, I've tried lots of things and never had a problem with it. Doesn't seem too bad. From that night on for a year and a half I did heroin. Got into a lot of debt. Then this new super cheap drug was available. Fentanyl. Struggled with that. After I OD'd and nearly died, I quit cold turkey. Let me tell you. Fentanyl withdrawal makes heroin withdrawal look like child's play. I'll be 1 year sober on the 20th of February. Very proud of that. Ducking, well done recovering. I'm currently recovering from alcoholism. I will make sure to send a thought your way on Tuesday. Started a 401k in my mid-20s. To add to this, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was to increase your 401k contribution every time you get a raise, i.e., if you get a 5% raise, up your 401k contribution by 1%. Do it before the raise even becomes effective. You'll still feel a 4% raise in your paycheck, but you'll never get used to the higher salary and never feel the hit of less take-home pay when you have to up the 401k later. Bonus points. Living comfortably before the raise. Put the entire thing toward the 401k and you'll never feel a hit in income and can retire at 50. Like the person who gave me this advice. Edit. There are a lot of people pointing out that there is a penalty for early withdrawal, and that's correct. I'm guessing I don't have the complete story. The person who told me this, an acquaintance of my former boss, so not someone I can ask follow-up questions to. Just mentioned that he put all the money he got from raises toward his retirement. At 23, I assumed that meant he put it all into a 401k, and I decided I would do something similar. Keep in mind this was also a single guy with no wife, kids, who lived well below the means of his high-paying engineering job. I always hear never put more than your company will match. If you want to increase your contribution, you should put it in an IRA. IDK if that's good or bad advice, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Went to a totally different hospital after the one my OB was at said my water didn't break twice in a week. So I went to the other hospital right after being told it didn't, and that hospital admitted me, and I had my son 6 hours later because they needed to induce me and pump antibiotics because it was broken for a week. Some doctors shouldn't be doctors. She told me to do Kegels and that I was probably just peeing at 39 weeks pregnant. That's unbelievable. It's so easy to test for amniotic fluid. I'm glad you advocated for yourself. Right. The doctor who delivered me said my OB was a goddamn idiot, and I'm almost positive he got a hold of the practice to complain on my behalf. I started rock climbing. I graduated college. Didn't make any friends there. High school friends were all dispersed. I just randomly decided to go to a climbing gym nearby and met an awesome group of people. 4 years later I have some of the best friends of my life and have been on some great adventures. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I'm thinking about getting into rock climbing too, but none of my friends seem to want to try it. Don't you need someone to hold your rope though? Edit. Well, I can tell by the 1000 plus upvotes and 30 messages of encouraging words and advice that climbers indeed are extremely friendly. I'll see you guys on the wall. Haha. This is the reason I only boulder. Bouldering uses no ropes, but also doesn't involve crazy cliffs. The highest I've climbed outdoors is like 20 feet. https://www.youtube.com/watch v=cnbw99n3uedit. Added video. It's so much fun. Bought 500 shares of Apple roughly 20 years ago. OMG, came back to this. So you sold a bit of it after it split. Held for a long time and just split twice more. Sold a bit a while back when I thought it was finally topped out, and now a huge chunk is just gaining for my retirement. I have 4-year-old twin girls, so I figure they will spend it all. He got me invested in some kind of fruit company, and then I got a call from him saying, "We don't need to worry about money no more." I said, "That great. One less thanga." Stayed in school. I went part-time for 6 years while working and raising my 3 kids. It was really hard, but I stuck with it, and wouldn't you know, right when I was about to finally graduate, my then fiancé developed a meth habit, drained our account, and disappeared. Left me penniless and without a car. I never could have made it on my own. We had been a team, I'd thought. My mom helped me with rides to finish my last 3 months of school. I made the dean's list and I was offered a job that paid 3 times what I was making while going to school. I accepted. I was completely spent financially, mentally, emotionally, and physically, but I made it. Another month and we would have been homeless. I thought of dropping out multiple times but pressed on. In the end it saved my family. Duck meth. Edit. Thank you all for your kind comments and support. You have made my morning. This all happened in just the last 7 months. I'm super proud of myself, but it's been so difficult. I'm not one to go on and on about my problems IRL, so I just pressed on. But I often felt so alone and discouraged. The dust has finally settled, so I'm just starting to look around and assess the damage. My work is not over. I needed this today. Thank you. This is incredible. I'm so glad you were able to make it through. Your children must be very proud of you. Thank you. They are. I graduated mid-year, so I don't walk until May, but when I do, they will be there. They kept me going. Uninstall League of Legends. You say this, and you might be joking, but I have actually never had a worse experience in a video game than when I played League of Legends. I had to stop playing when I wasn't even happy after winning. Like it would be a relief after a frustrating game most of the times. Quit smoking cigarettes. How did you do it? I'll stop in 2 weeks. Semester in college will start and I want to quit altogether. Any tips would be appreciated. Edit. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting this amount of comments and tips. Thanks everyone. You surely helped a redditor quit smoking. 3. Quit today so you're not having extra stress when school starts. My wife is the smartest thing I have done and I continue to keep doing. Totally agree. Love doing your smart wife refrigerator. It's snowing on MT, Fuji. I once put my socks on my radiator overnight so they'd be warm when I put them on in the morning. Edit. Found a pair of socks. Lost my radiator. You do realize you can do it every night, right? I lost my socks. I was in the deepest pit of being down on life for months and I made the decision to just do anything. I moved to a new country for a new adventure and became a new man. Living a new interesting life. I spent 4 years living in Spain as a result of the same kind of thing. I knew I needed to do something, or I'd never do anything. The change made all the difference. I moved back home recently, but I'm still glad I did it. What are you going to do now? I always wonder how people get back into their lives after coming back from an adventure. What kind of work do you want to get involved with? Purchased real estate in Vancouver 10 years ago. So, you're a millionaire now. Not until he sells and moves. Having $1 million in a city where the price of real estate is $1 million doesn't do anything for your standard of living. Having $1 million in a town where the price of real estate is $300,000 though, well, that's a game changer. I started a blog all about how this lawyer bitch was a criminal and stole money from people, warning people to stay away from her. That was pretty stupid, and she sued me for $1,000,000 for defamation of character. I had to represent myself. After a year of litigation, I won. I represented myself, did everything myself, was immersed in how to be a lawyer for a year, and I won. And not only that, she was disbarred, and when she petitioned the following year, they said she can never ever be a lawyer again. LOL. I rule. It's always a good feeling when you beat a scumbag at the game that they think they're the best at. That's awesome. You should write a longer post in one of the Justice bonus subs. Spent hours in my bedroom figuring out how computers work. Today I'm a director of technology. Did you repeatedly turn your computer off and on again? You'd be surprised. Not OP, but a hefty amount of my day job is understanding how computers turn on and boot. Quit my mental health job. I was basically an underpaid, glorified babysitter. Much happier leaving that behind. I did the same thing. So freeing. Being able to sleep without thinking about the shit drug addicted parents did to their children. I don't regret the help I gave people. I regret the pain and suffering I brought home with me. The nightmares. Oh god, the nightmares. I teach English to children in Korea now. Best decision I ever made. For my CNA I did clinicals at a shithole retirement home in the ghetto. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel, because I knew that I already got depressed around sick old people. But Jesus, that shit will keep you up at night. Those people were just waiting to die, and all but maybe 2 staff members actually gave a shit about anyone in there. I know that I could be of help to those people, but I just don't think I could take the emotional impact of working a job like that. I'd love to hear more of this story. Care to elaborate? Here's an odd one. I put my hand up for a random extempore debate thing in 8th grade because I wanted to be someone other than a stereotypical nerd who studied a lot. That by itself was meaningless. But a year later, when my teachers had to select who they would send to represent the school at some debate, they sent me because I was a good student and had seemed willing in the past. Then it turned out that the debate thing I went to was actually a secret selection workshop for representing my country at the school level international debating championships, WSDC. I did well, got in, and ended up representing my country thrice. Traveling to 2 new continents and 3 countries, all expenses paid, plus the experience. Plus the fact that it has looked kick-ass in my resume and been very useful in interviews both for university and subsequently for my job. So you joined the debate club in order to not be a nerd? He did it ironically so he can make fun of the nerds. Started saving 10% of my paycheck in a retirement account when I was 18 years old. I'm now saving close to 20%. I've been doing this for 15 years and have a decent sack of change, and if I'm able to max out my retirement savings at $18,000 a year, which I should be able to do in 3 years with my promotions. I'll be a multi-millionaire when I retire in my mid-60s. Why not just retire earlier and be a singular millionaire? Not op, but if he likes his job, there's no real good reason to retire. I put a George Foreman grill beside my bed so that I can wake up to the smell of bacon. Just watch your step. Edit. Anonymous friend who gave me this thing called Reddit Gold. I don't know whether you would rather be loved or feared, but I am afraid of how much I love you. Thank you. You are an even greater philanderer than I am. Rami 2. I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me. And since I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself. So, most nights before I go to bed, I will lay 6 strips of bacon out on my George Foreman grill. Then I go to sleep. When I wake up, I plug in the grill. I go back to sleep again. Then I wake up to the smell of crackling bacon. It is delicious. It's good for me. It's a perfect way to start the day. You are everything I'm not and everything I am. You're the whole package. Literally running away from an emotionally abusive relationship. I lost so much that day, but in the long run my freedom gave me so much more. Thanks for my first gold kind stranger. Marrying my husband. I'm totally not saying this just because he's right next to me at this moment. Blink twice if you need help. It's been 33 minutes. We should send help. Probably not the smartest, but something I was really proud of. We were playing 4-way chess on one of those special boards and I managed to set it up so that I successively took all 3 other queens and then put a player in check, forcing the loss of a bishop as well, all within a few turns. All my friends said it was bullshit luck, but I know the truth. I'm horrible at chess and always have been, but when I was 14, I joined the chess team in high school. I would play against every student there and would lose every time. I became the kid who they'd practice on, but one day, I played against the best player on the team, and he made the biggest mistake of his life, while everyone was watching, and I got him in a checkmate. Never went back after that, possibly my biggest accomplishment. 10 years ago, dropped out of university and checked myself into a mental health facility. Turns out untreated and severe depression is bad for you. Bonus points for no longer being in my toxic home environment during the hospital stay. Got Final Jeopardy right without even seeing the answer, just the category. The question was, what is Manhattan? None of the contestants got it right. Moments like this are the real reason why I watch Jeopardy. Went back to college in my mid-20s after spectacularly flunking out the first go round. Graduated in 2015 just ahead of my 28th birthday. Left an abusive man that I had been with for 2 years. It was such an accomplishment. I was so proud of myself. I'm now in the most happy relationship with the love of my life. Finding the strength to leave was seriously the best thing I've ever done. 10 years with an abusive woman who continues to use our children as a weapon against me. I myself happened upon the love of my life afterwards. Was extremely difficult to leave, but I'm much better these days. So I can relate and give big props to you. Also, it's great to later be in a great relationship and be like, so wait, this is how it's supposed to work? Decided to learn a foreign language when I was in university. Fluency in a second language opens up a world of professions and places to do them. Becoming a dental hygienist. I love the instant gratification. It's a place where my OCD can shine. And work will always be there. Edit. I've been practicing for almost 10 years and I still love it, and I learn something every day. Not kill myself as a teenager due to my mom and brother's abuse. Edit. Thank you all. I really wanted to say marry my husband, went back to school, etc. But it's all because I chose life. Doing much better now after years of therapy. My mom dying cutting my brother out of my life. Took a medical leave from school for a year to work on my OCD and eating disorder. It was rough when I started treatment, but it's the best decision of my life and it literally saved me from myself. Edit. Thank you everyone for your awesome support. For anyone that is still struggling, feel free to PM me. Was admitted to medical school. Fiance was finishing medical school and getting ready to start residency halfway across the country. I was already uncertain of how badly I wanted to spend the next 8+ years training. So I turned down my acceptance, moved 1,000 miles away with my fiance, and got accepted to PA school. Best decision ever. I'm now weeks away from graduation and a guaranteed 6-figure salary in a field that I love. Left computer science in the last semester to become an artist. Everyone thought I was insane. Current bank account says different. Current personal fulfillment does too. Edit. I can't answer everyone, Hannah, so here goes. I work as an illustrator for video games and book covers etc. ACS person in my city makes 4k month. I make 10 to 12k month. This money is due to exchange rates. It's a perk of living in a shitty country. My job type allows me to don what I never could with CS. I majored fine arts. So oil paintings and stuff. I have since moved to a first world country, so I'm not rolling in the dough anymore. Haha, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Follow your dreams, kids. I did the opposite and had same result. Maxed out my Roth IRA as soon as I finished college and got a real job. I continued to live like a broke college student so I could easily put away $5,500. I also started making car payments to my savings account so when I'm ready to buy a car I can buy it outright instead of taking out a loan with 6% interest. Purchased a modest amount of Ethereum back in June of 2017. About 2 paychecks worth. Nothing crazy. My wife and I now have enough to pay off both our student loan debts. With a bit to spare, I would consider it a life-changing amount of money. I mean, we're not retiring off of it or anything, but no debt is no debt. About 2 paychecks worth. Nothing crazy. Unless you're paid daily, that is pretty crazy. A month ago, I realized that Lego my ego really means to let go of my ego. Quit my shitty job on a whim and went back to school. Completed a 2-5-year program in a year by taking extra classes every semester and walked into a job that I love. It really was a rash decision but one that worked out well for me. After years of wanting to see the world but being held back by my so until they felt comfortable, I left without him to the tropics. Delighted with the tropics, my so became an ex upon my return. Best decision ever. Joined a trade union and go to apprenticeship school. Bought a 1-bedroom city central apartment with my now husband in our mid-20s before the 2008 crash, and while the banks were handing out mortgages with wild abandon, kept to a ridiculously tight budget for 3 years and spent hardly any money while our friends were going out and having fun. Got a tracker mortgage and borrowed less than the maximum the banks were offering us. Years later the rent covers the mortgage and more. We no longer live in the same country, and luckily we never needed to sell it as it's still in negative equity. Still very difficult to get a mortgage in this area, so rental market is very healthy. Still can't believe our dumb luck as it would be near impossible for us to do now. Bought Crocs for work. I am a cook. Those things are the best even though they look so stupid. Got pregnant at 18 just before university started. Stayed in uni and got a good job that supported myself and my son. He's mid-20s now and doing well, and I'm also doing well. When I broke the thermometer, I strategically placed my cat so it looked like he did it. Mum didn't suspect a thing. This is a revelation. I can't think of anything I've ever done I would classify as particularly smart. It was to take the bullets out of the gun. Bought a dozen bags of junk silver when it was under 10 late 08 and sold spring 11 when it topped 40. 00. Deleted Facebook for a while. It made me super depressed seeing friends being super successful with careers, getting married, doing things while I'm saving and trying to get out of debt. I eventually reactivated it just to keep in touch with people, but I don't use the app and only check it once a week maximum. Up and moved across the country. Had no money and a crappy car that died 6 weeks after I got there, but had a few friends. Found a job at a new restaurant and a place to live. Nearly 10 years later the owners of that first restaurant have grown their concepts to 8 restaurants and a brewery. I grew with them through that entire time. Started running food and busing tables to managing and then general managing. I'd be on opening crew when building a new one. 5 years ago I stepped down from GM of one of the highest grossing restaurants to wash kegs at the new brewery. Now I'm on the brew deck full time. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.